Hey guys, it's JP, and I'm going to go over why you should strengthen the quads, especially when getting back into running, as well as how to do so. I'm bringing this up because strength training may help improve your running performance. This is something I tend to emphasize more, especially when someone is starting to run again, as running intensity and volume typically start low. However, to optimize strength training and help you run faster, it is important to consider what key muscles are used during running. One muscle group that has shown to be a key player as you run is the quadriceps. Based on some research, they can end up generating up to 5 times your body weight. This muscle is most notably involved in 1. Absorbing forces as the foot hits the ground, and 2. As the leg generates force to move you forward. Improving strength and capacity of these muscles to do their job may help improve the way you run. With that being said, let's go over some solid exercises I give runners, especially for those returning to run and are relatively new to strength training. The first one I will include is the good old squat. This is not only a great exercise to strengthen the quads to prepare for running, but also for life demands in general. Now here, I use weight, but squats without any weight may also suffice for those new to strength training. Now, one common question I get is whether you need to go down all the way into a deeper squat position. For the case of runners, you still get the benefits of strength training from doing a half squat. Research has shown that you do not need to go through the full range of movement to get strength gains, but rather, they just need to be challenged enough through something like adding more weight. If anything, the reason you would go through more ranges is to be stronger within those ranges. However, runners only go through a slight bend of the knees as they run. The next staple exercise I include is the step up. This is a simple exercise that involves usage of the quads. It does not take you through much knee motion compared to other exercises, but again, you do not really go through much knee motion in a loaded manner as you run. Actually, the step up makes the muscles work in a similar pattern seen in running. You'll notice this to be the case as when you step up, the quads act to straighten the leg. This is similar to how they act during this phase of running as the foot leaves the ground. Though, the knee does not have to completely straighten out when you run. Why that's the case, I'll leave for a different video on running mechanics. Anyway, as I mentioned before, the quads help absorb forces as the foot hits the ground during the early mid-stance. They actually act similar to what is seen when you lower from the step. This emphasizes the importance of this portion of the exercise and should not be neglected. There is much more to talk about with the step up in terms of cueing, but you can refer back to my previous video on it. Now the last exercise I will talk about in this video is the push-up plank with alternating knee taps. This is a simple progression of the plank that involves usage of the quads. I wanted to incorporate this exercise in this video because when I make a comprehensive training program for a runner, I personally like to link muscles that work together as you run. In this case, this exercise links the quads with the core, more specifically the lumbopelvic hip complex, as they all work together when running. Now, I will go over this one in a bit more detail as there are a few cues to remember to optimize engagement of the quads and core. First, you will start in a push-up plank position. Common cues are to make sure the arm is stacked under the shoulder and pretend like you are balancing plates on your back. These basic cues will help you better focus on engaging the core muscles. Now, when performing the alternating knee taps, this not only challenges the core more, but also involves more usage of the quads. This occurs when the opposite leg is performing the gentle knee tap. With the leg that is still planted on the ground, you should try to drive the big toe into the ground. Doing so actually helps not only straighten out the knee, but also engages the leg muscles, most notably the quads in this case. Then, you can continue to alternate between each leg. And those are a few exercises that I incorporate specifically for those getting back into running and are relatively new to strength training. How these exercises are implemented and incorporated depends on the runner and what they are trying to achieve. That kind of programming is much more individualistic, which is really why I do not go through the details of reps and sets as much. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned ways to help optimize your own training. Let me know what questions you may have and other topics you'd like me to go over. And as always, thank you for watching.